I'm going to make a deal with you. Down below in the description section, 80-page NFL report, 180 player projections, 200 player blurbs, and it's totally free. The only thing I ask, hit that sub button. Please hit the like button and share this with your friends. It took me 6 weeks to compile this data, this research, and I'm giving it away for free to the fantasy football community for your tremendous support over the years, and I ask for continued support. Hit that sub button, hit that like button. Now let's get to our wide receivers that I am telling people to do not draft. Let's get to work. All right, 3 reasons why I'm telling people do not draft Tyler Boyd this season: Joe Burrow, the pandemic, and AJ Green. Okay, listen, Tyler Boyd had the opportunity to shine, and he did all right. Now they have Joe Burrow, a rookie, during a pandemic, not getting the offseason that most rookies usually get. Word just came down from the NFL today. There's not going to be an NFL preseason. That means you're going to see a lot of rookies struggling out of the gates. On top of that, you're going to see a lot of rookie quarterbacks not getting to work off the preseason jitters that most NFL rookies do. On top of that, we then have AJ Green returning from injury and potentially taking over the wide receiver 1 role in Cincinnati again. He only ended up having 14 more receptions, 17 more yards, and 2 less touchdowns, despite the increase of 40 more targets without AJ Green around. While he still likely carries some type of PPR upside, maybe a low-end wide receiver 2 or high-end wide receiver 3, with a likely decrease in targets, AJ Green returning, and Joe Burrow entering a rookie season without a preseason, and in the middle of a pandemic, I'm just hands off Tyler Boyd. Do not draft. The next wide receiver, Sammy Watkins. We saw him last season explode in week 1 against a premier shutdown cornerback in Jalen Ramsey. It was truly a career game as he racked up 9 receptions, 198 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then the rest of the season, he didn't score another touchdown in the regular season. What a bust. And there were a lot of people that ended up trading for him after the first week or so, thinking this is the year. Finally, it's Sammy Watkins' breakout time. The abundance of athleticism and raw talent has really never transcended into a full, well-rounded wide receiver role for Sammy Watkins, and he just can't seem to put it together. And now he has literally the ideal situation where he's not the primary wide receiver. He doesn't get the elite shutdown cornerbacks on the other side, while Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce both take all the attention away from him, and he still can't break out. And now he has Hardman and Robinson behind him, and they're emerging young talents in this offense. Sammy Watkins, just one of those players who I just don't have high hopes for. I think that these wide receivers generally are going to be a distant third collectively as a group behind both Kelce and Tyreek Hill, and I think they're all going to feast on one another. You're going to see them rotate in and out of wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 sets based on the scenarios that the Chiefs are in, and that just means for me, Sammy Watkins, no matter what, is just one of those guys I'm not going to touch this year. I think if anything, he takes a step back offensively. I think his targets will decrease, and I think that both Mecole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson will get an increase in targets this year. And these are the reasons why Sammy Watkins, do not draft. Don't care if he's a value or not. Not touching him. I don't see an upside. All right, we're going to stick in the AFC West with Henry Ruggs, the potential number 1 wide receiver for the Raiders this year. And here's the thing. I just don't think that's a fruitful place to be. Derek Carr caps the upside of all wide receivers that land in his sight. And, we've seen Tyrell Williams be the quote-unquote number 1. We've seen Hunter Renfrow be the other potential number 1 option. And these guys just never do much with the role. And it's likely due to Derek Carr just not wanting to push the ball down the field. Despite having career best numbers across the board last year, Derek Carr just is not somebody who has multiple touchdown upside, and he does not throw for a lot of yards. Henry Ruggs, talented, very raw, and he's a rookie. We already talked about it. It's a pandemic season. You're going to get rookies without a preseason, without an offseason filled with team activities, and that's not going to be good for any rookie, and definitely not for one who is coming in to a weird situation on a team whose number 1 option is truly just going to be the tight end, Darren Waller. I think with a lack of team chemistry and cohesiveness coming in for 2020, it makes me just not want to draft Henry Ruggs outside of dynasty leagues. And the last wide receiver is another wide receiver from the AFC West. Hell, I feel bad about this one, but Keenan Allen, man. I mean, he's been so consistent, 104, 97, and 102 receptions over the last 3 years with Phillip Rivers under center. And now we get Tyrod Taylor. Here's the issue. Tyrod Taylor's never thrown for more than 3,100 yards in a season. Phillip Rivers had thrown for 575-yard passing attempts in 4 out of the last 5 years. And when you look at Tyrod Taylor and his starting career, only once in 45 career starts has he thrown for more than 300 yards. I just don't see Tyrod Taylor sliding into that type of passing attempt volume that Phillip Rivers had. He is not aggressive enough to rack up the yardage, and we've seen in all these starts in different teams and scenarios and offensive schemes, he's had one 300-yard passing game. The upside's not there for Keenan Allen. I don't care what ADP you have, Matt. I think this is just one of those years you don't touch many of the Chargers' offensive weapons. I'm not touching them. Keenan Allen is in my do not draft wide receiver list for 2020. If you need a more comprehensive approach to fantasy football, I have projections, cheat sheets, tiered rankings, 130 content pieces, and a Discord for fantasy football. And that's all located at patreon.com/riserfall. Give it a look, and together we rise or fall. Take care, everybody.